Welcome back to Divinity 648. This is a bedroom conversation for Libra. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Uranus, and you check your house placements if it's in, you see what house it's in, right? Bedroom conversation. Please keep in mind, I am a high vibrational energy intuitive. I am going to be tapping into various conversations. So bear with me and only take what applies, right? If it sounds like your situation, but it's not your perspective or half of it's your perspective, then you need to know what doesn't apply applies to the person you're dealing with, okay? Vice versa. Understand? There'll be multiple conversations coming out of this session, but they may be blended because some people all of those conversations apply into one for them. So only take what applies to you. Because I am a high vibrational energy sensitive, right? Energy intuitive. Um, my voice change, my demeanor changes, my accent may change. Just bear with it and stick with it. I also tend to come off track to give a bunch of hidden gems. That's what happens when I channel. If they're giving information, I don't block it, delay it. I let it through immediately and then hopefully get back on track. Okay? So, bedroom conversation with Libra. Libra, one person, or maybe the both of you, need to sit down and have a conversation. Okay, this conversation is to discuss with you how they feel like they may have been manipulated or influenced into making the wrong decision when it comes to being in a relationship with someone. They feel like external influences, which could be anything like manifestation or manipulation or a person mimicking another person to confuse them. Sometimes someone will see how a person looks at someone and they will start to almost how fans copy celebrities that they admire and look up to. So it's almost like this person feels like the influences from one person mimicked you, or uh, something about them naturally resembled or was similar to what you have or what they saw in you. And that made them a little confused when they made their choice to be with someone else or date someone or cheat on you, right? Whatever the dynamic is. And now they're thinking about this and reflecting on this, and they want to sit down and have a conversation with you about this. Like they're feeling this way and they need to let this out, right? They need to let you know that not only do they feel this way, but they're seeing it, right? It's like they're pushing themselves back from this individual who's trying to cling on to them and hold them into place. Some of them can be trying to maintain themselves in this dynamic, but in the back of their minds or even in front of their minds, right? They're literally drifting off into space, thinking about the way that you make them feel, thinking about the way that you behave when you're together. Some of them have even distanced themselves from you because they try to have a better grip and they noticed that they couldn't do so while visiting with you or spending more time with you. Um, if that applies, you have to know that the other person in this conversation kind of feels passive, right? Feels passive towards the other individual, feels like that individual is like their king, their boss, they're, the only person for them. They feel very comfortable around them, very sexual around them. They feel Like that's it. There's no one else for them, even though they very well could be entertaining someone else, or even if this was in the past, that would have been the dynamic. While they were entertaining someone else, they felt like that was the only one for them. And they even felt like, despite everything going on, um, they couldn't see their way past. It was kind of like, I don't even want to look on this. I don't want to focus on my feelings because I know this is my person. And regardless of the dynamic, I can't be with anybody else kind of feeling, right? So you've got person A sitting in this energy of reflecting and realizing that maybe they were with the wrong person, and they feel like now that their perspective has changed, or they've got more clarity and they're seeing clean. It's almost like, was I under a spell? Was I being influenced? How was I tricked into thinking that this was my person? Um, so they're questioning a lot of things, and they want to sit down and explain that to you. Um, And regardless, that other person is in their head, like, no matter what, this is my person. Like, no matter what, they're my everything. So they're grounded and they're rooted in this dynamic, in the sense that there's nobody but that person for them. Um, Also, for the rest of this conversation, or the next half of this conversation, and I'm not sure how this applies to the first half. It would be up to you based on your alignments. Basically, the rest of this conversation is like, geez, it's like you're ready to walk away. One person wants to walk away, because they know who they are and they deserve better. So either they're walking away from that energy that they're realizing wasn't their person by simply saying, here you go, see you later. I'm sending you on your way, and I'm pursuing the person who lights up my soul, because they're tired of being stuck in their thoughts and being at odds with the other individual. It's like, they have their focus elsewhere, entertaining other things, right? And your person is stuck in their thoughts, kind of putting up a barrier or isolating themselves, because intellectually there's no chemistry, that like emotionally there's no fulfillment there. The fulfillment is elsewhere for both parties, to be quite honest. And I think the other individual who manipulated the situation, or caused that confusion, um whether intentional or not, or both, um, basically they're kind of fed up with this dynamic too, because they're like, I'm just going to go elsewhere. It's time for me to hit the road, because no matter how hard I try, I can't stop him from going back to her, right? No matter how hard I try, no matter how much money I spend on creating confusion, manipulation, and blockages, I can't get him to forget her, right? Because all he's thinking about is that ass. And for the other person, they're like, I'm not fucking going anywhere. This is my king, right? I'm a little fucking pissed, but at the same time, I'm going to defend my position in here because I know this is my person. So while he's sitting there figuring out how he's going to send this other person out the door, who already wants to go out the door, she's already, or he, depending on your dynamic, is already making moves, right? They're already looking for places. They're already entertaining other individuals. And it's not all of the above unless it applies to you. You have to see where this fits. Some of them are seeing other people. Some of them are just buying assets elsewhere so that way they can just one day surprise you and be out the door, because they know that you're not their person, and they know that they've been manipulating this situation, and they're basically getting everything that they can get before they're out the door, because they can see it coming. And for some of you, this individual, like one person has, you know, listen, what's meant to be is always going to be, no matter how many times you cause blockages or delays. The divine does not tolerate people continuously violating other individuals' free will. And karma, what goes around always comes back around. You will always be where you are supposed to be, even if it took you longer to get there, right? So divine has pretty much put a stop on what is being allowed, right? Because we have free will, but there's also divine order. You cannot miss the blessings that are meant for you. You can only have them prolonged before you reach them, right? So it will only take longer. So now's that point. Now's that point where the divine has stepped in and basically is prompting one of you to have that conversation, that communication. Um, you know where you fucking belong, so just get there. Why even put it off even longer? Who does that benefit? It's only gonna, that's that tower card moment, right? You keep putting something off and you end up paying a price for it. Meaning, like how you always say, like, damn, why didn't I listen to myself? I would have never had to go through this, or this would have never happened, or I would have never lost all of this if I had just listened to myself, if I had just left when I said I was going to leave. Now this person has gone and done all these things to me, and I can't recuperate on my own from it. You know, um, be smart. Recognize the red flags as they apply to your specific situation and stop putting shit off because you're worried, right? Or you're your own blockage, you're your own delay. You can see these red flags now, whereas before you may have been externally influenced in such a way that caused creation of stagnation and blockages in your life, right? It's like one person is like a wall for you, and the other person is like a flame. One person you want to push yourself away from, whereas the other person, you know, they're just sitting there on their fucking throne waiting for your ass. And it's like, how long do you expect them to fucking wait? Right? That's the overall influence in your mind. It's like, I know I don't want to be here. I know she's waiting or he's waiting. Let me get my fucking shit in gear before I get a tower card moment and end up with nothing. Right? Because now we're paying attention to finances. Now we're paying attention to behavioral patterns, past relationships, who really mimics the karmics of your past, right? Who really does. And something you have to realize also, not everybody shows you their best foot forward, right? Not everybody gives you their best up front. Sometimes you get their worst up front. And personally, I always want the worst up front because I don't want to invest myself and get hurt in the end. Hurt me now so that way we can decide if this is something I want to stay in. That way, in the long run, it's just pure enjoyment, right? It's like you put in all that hard work now so you can just enjoy those rewards. You can reap those rewards and enjoy those benefits. Whereas karmics will give you their best foot forward and all the beautiful things about them up front. And then at the end, they hit you with all the motherfucking bullshit, right? So that's how you know who's the fucking karmic. They're going to give you hell up front, grow as an individual, and it's smooth sailing for the rest of your fucking lives. Whereas with a karmic, it's beautiful happiness up front and it's fucking hell for the rest of the time being. And if that honeymoon phase doesn't last very long and it's hell up front, you already know they've shown you their best and it wasn't very fucking much. Is it worth it? Pull out those justice scales. All that good they showed you in the beginning and all the shit that you see unfolding, which one, how does that weigh out for you? Think about that. Now take that other person who gave you their fucking worst up front and see how they've grown and how they've changed and everything that you can see coming. And how does that weigh out? Well, was their worst, yeah, it might have dragged out a bit, but was their worst really heavier than all of their best that they're showing now? How does that weigh out? Is it worth it? I mean, if you've already gone through the bullshit and you've already seen their worst and it wasn't much for you because you've been through worse, wouldn't you rather be that way? Or do you want to continue to go through the bullshit that you're going through, knowing that it could only get worse because you've already seen them at their best and that didn't last that long? And 5 years, 6 years is not that long. You've got the rest of your fucking life with this person. So if you're already going through it, you better know it gets 10 times worse. That's how you know if you're with a karmic or a divine counterpart. You get the worst up front for a short period of time based on how bad they are. Because if the worst is up front and it never fucking gets better, then they just had no good in them at all, right? You got to look at things a little bit deeper than what you've been, Libra energy. And if this does not apply to you, it applies to the person that you're dealing with. So, bottom line, you're going to be sat down, or someone needs to sit someone down and explain to them that they made a choice and they realize that they'd rather be with the person whose ass excites them and brings them fulfillment over the person who they feel emotionally and mentally detached from. To schedule a session, visit divinity648.com. All appointments are booked online. If you need a same-day appointment and the time is not available that you're looking for, you can contact me through the messenger feature on the site and ask for the date and time, and I can possibly manually schedule you.